Casper, today we're going to talk about a company which is not a new one for us. We're going to talk about Snowflake again. And why do we talk about Snowflake again? Because the price has dropped. And you would not expect that because all the AI and IT and technology companies are at skyrocket levels, to say so. Snowflake is not. Snowflake, at the beginning of this year, was trading at 184 when we started. And then the price went down, the price went up initially to 234, and at the moment it's 40% lower almost. It's at $129. For the people that don't know what Snowflake is doing, it's a company that is active in, of course, the data cloud. They service almost 10,000 companies all over the world. In the previous video that we recorded on this topic, on this company, it was in July last year, I explained the technical insights. So what was the price then? That is a good question. You can see it here in this chart. This chart I can see it, right? Yeah, I think it was around 200, $200. So from then it's down almost 40%. What did we say in the video? Be careful. No, we talk more about the product. Yeah, we talk more about the product, but it was challenging. And of course we compared it very much to Amazon Web Services. They have a very specific functionality on the way they process data. They do it with SQL, so they can store data based on categories on all different sort of layers. It's pretty technical. Let's not dive too much into it. But if you look at it from a technical perspective, and when you want to know how technical analysis works, you need to actually follow a course, right? You need to know how to read charts, and for that we have been building really nice courses, and we are very happy with it. All our students that are following this course, you can follow and look at that website that we built for this specific is academyforinvestors.com, and between each word a little how do you call that in English? Hyphen, no? Yeah. A little bar, I always call it. It's one of those little words that you then forget, though. Academy-for-investors.com. But before you start with the technical analysis, I think it's in the news since this week, and we spoke about it with a lot of investors, because investors are always looking for some things that are really low price. Yeah, low price. They're looking for the cheap stuff. And this is against the market. What you said, it has come down this year significantly from the top this year, 40%. So a lot of investors, but also institutional investors, are looking at it from, is this the moment now to step in? And this is, we're going to talk about it from the technical angle and from the fundamental angle. And then you can draw your own conclusion, I think, from a technical part. From a technical solution for perspective in the first place. So technical analysis is based on everything that happened in the world. So when you look at a chart, everything, all the news is in that little line. There are indicators that there's a mathematical calculation, systematic calculations based on the information that is in that line. And one of the most used technical indicators, really easy to understand, is called the RSI, or also called the Relative Strength Index. And it's a bandwidth between 30 and 70. I'm not going to explain to you how that is calculated, it's too complicated. But that's in the course. That's in the course. When you look at 30, that means basically you see a green line that the price is oversold. And many times when the stock price is going down, you see the RSI also going down. When it hits then 30, many times it's an indication that we are oversold. When you go back up, go towards the 70, you see a red line. Hey, red, stop. So get out of your position, take your profits. And if we compare that, then you want people are always looking for confirmation that you're doing things right. You can add another indicator, which is the MACD, the Moving Average Convergence Divergence, and that is an indication on the move. So are we on the trend? How strong is it? If you see it when it's positive and it's going up, it's green. That means that we're in a positive trend. There's a lot of buyers, a lot of positive buzz in this stock. But when it's going down, the MACD is going down, it even becomes into negative territory. That is an indication that you should start getting cautious, right? That the price is going down, and that in confirmation with your RSI could give an indication that the price might move. And what do we see with Snowflake? RSI is at 30. The divergence is coming from negative, becoming positive again, and also when the lines are crossing. So the MACD period, the period lines are crossing, and that is a really strong signal that the stock has been oversold and that there is some positive movement around it again. So that is from a technical perspective. Casper, take us into the figures, because we know you like that. No, I think it's all related to each other. And if you look at your chart, you see that in May there's an extra downtrend. Yes, big one. And that was was that only technical? Yeah, it was technical, but it was based on the fiscal year results, because they're now already in fiscal year 2025, and the 2024 year ended at the end of April. Yeah. So they presented the figures in May, and they were not, they're not received very positive. Were they all negative? No, they were not. For example, the product revenue grew year to year with 34%. The outlook for the next year, that was increased from 3.2 billion to 3.3 billion. So that's also good outlook. 21% more customers and 30% more customers from clients that contribute for more than 1 million to the revenues, and they have around almost 500 of those customers. So underlying drivers, because the customers you first have to group before you can get some revenue. So that's all good. Where is the pain point? That's mainly in the margin, the gross margin. That was before 77%. So out of your revenues, your margin. And we always say, people want to have high margins because then you earn a lot. But if something is high, it can drop easily. And if something is low, then you can increase it. That's why a lot of companies buy other companies, because they think we can increase the profit margin.
Yes.
So the margin dropped from 77% to 75%. And that resulted in a lower earnings per share. And the earnings per share in relation to the previous year dropped from 98 cents to 62 cents. So the people, investors didn't like it. Even the outlook of the customers was quite okay. So the share price dropped. So make a little bit step to the earnings per share for this year. It's expected it's going back to 99 cents, $1. So it looks like, from a fundamental perspective, from earnings per share, it was a one-time dip. If you look at the when they came on the market, they were valued at $120 billion. And then it dropped. So we are always a little bit cautious with IPOs, because the market doesn't have a reference point. In this case, it was valued for $120 billion, and the revenues at that moment were only 1.2. So it was 100 times the forward sales. And now it's expected for the year 2026 to be, instead of 1 billion, 4.3 billion. If you look at the competitors, so I think in the vlog of last year, 1 year ago, you spoke about the competitors, Amazon and Microsoft, etc.
The bigger ones.
Yeah, but you also have Cloudflare and Palantir, and they trade on higher forwarded earnings per share of the sales ratio, the price sales ratio. So if you compare, you also have to look at, in the beginning of the vlog, we always say we like to look at sectors. If you look at this sector, how are they performing in that sector? At the moment, they are not overvalued compared to their peers. 22% of market share they have. And if you look at the future from a fundamental perspective, it is expected to $1 this year, as said, earnings per share, and it will grow to 2030, almost in a straight line, to $6, $6.80. If you look then at the PE, and probably still people looking at the PE, otherwise it wasn't the share didn't have a big drop after performing less based on the earnings per share. It's still, I think, on a $6 in 2030, with a price of $129 now, it's still 20 times.
Yeah.
And at this moment, with expected $1, it's 129 times the profit.
Yeah, it's very expensive.
So it's really expensive. So the PE, the stock price, can go up a lot because it's trading at the last moment. That's not what I'm thinking. That's what analysts think. Because if you look at the analysts, 44 analysts, they expect an average target price, again, it's 129 now, to 109 in 1 year. Out of the 44, 31 say it's a buy, 11 say it's a hold, and only 2 say it's a sell. And they have, of course, that are the Goldman Sachs and all the people that know everything. And if you look at, that's why I want to highlight it, the lowest expectation of those 44 is the price of now, 125, 129, in that range. And the highest one is 600. So from an analyst perspective, 44, there is a lot of music in it. So from a fundamental perspective, I think it's still really expensive share.
Yeah. Definitely.
And only if they can perform that well, then they go to a 20 times PE if you compare it with Google, for example. But I think it's also emotional. Technical, it's on a low point, but yeah, if there comes in again, it's going to be a favorable stock again. It can do amazing things.
Absolutely.
So I took the costs for investments in the GPU related costs, and then they will grow again for sure. Not for sure, probably.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, and also if you look at the pipeline with the products, what they are planning to bring out with AI, it's all logic stuff. It's stuff that is not like, oh, we're going to invent something that people don't need. It's like SQL language learning, so that you can. It's like when you have a company and you have a lot of data, right? Like a shop, and you have your inventory and stuff. They make software to instance, make a query, make a list. Okay, I want to know how many jars of this and that. And, to get data from your business. That's something that they're building. They're building document AI that is for if you want to, if you need to do a lot of standardized work and get information from different sources, get it into a document at once. So all, really useful applications, but which I think will have a spot or have a right to be there. No, so hopefully they'll manage to turn this around and become very profitable again.
Yeah, and I think AI related, they took already a lot of investments, so probably they will grow, but still. And from a technical perspective, really interesting. But the fundamental, it's not really cheap.
No, at the moment, absolutely not.
It's cheaper than the highest point 400.
Because
it's 129.
From a price point, yes.
And
from a fundamental perspective, no.
I think this is an interesting example, because you can't say it's you should buy it or you shouldn't buy it or you should watch it and hold it. This is for every investor has his own angles. Some people are looking only technical. Now, then you can do it, and there's a big chance that it moves. Or for a fundamental, and if you look at,
or at least a little pullback.
Yeah. So it's really interesting, I think. So decide on yourself what you're going to do with it. Thank you for watching. Give us your thumb up.